this next story is about an indie romance author who faked her suicide. This was revealed days ago that all of this time, for years, people have thought this woman died. And days ago, she just showed back up on the internet, and she's trying to make a public comeback a la Bill Cosby, I guess.
This is extremely delusional. It's extremely delusional to
think that everything's just gonna be fine.
It's bonkers.
It's just like, hey guys, what's up? I'm back. Wait, what?
They announced it in 2020, in September of 2020.
Well, what happened is
in
September 2020, Susan Meachin's daughter posted from her Facebook profile announcing that she had ended her own life due to experiencing relentless bullying from people in the book community or the book world online.
Here's the thing. That's absolutely believable. The printing environment, the book world is unbelievably toxic, especially in romance, any type of romance, YA. All of the people in those industries, especially on Twitter, are just awful. They're just awful to one another. And it's somebody made a video basically saying this is it's kind of like how they talk about how social media is it's an unbelievably useful tool for female bullies, because women bully through social shaming and shunning. And these are industries where it's a perfect example of how they do it to one another in a setting that makes it more evil, because there's financial stakes involved. So
speaking of the financial stakes, they then at the same time announced that despite their mother leaving the world and the book world in general, in order to honor her memory, they would publish the last work she ever wrote, which was titled Love to Last a Lifetime. And they encouraged people to go buy it to support this family.
And in her memory, of course.
And in her memory, yes. So now, only a month after her fake death announcement, people found out that she had been posting under a fake profile named TN Steele anonymously the whole time.
Absolutely.
And now she's back again on her real Facebook profile as if nothing ever happened. And I'm going to read out her recent post that was on an old Facebook group she was in called The Ward. She said, I debated on how to do this a million times and still not sure if it's right or not. There's going to be tons of questions and a lot of people leaving the group, I'd guess. But my family did what they thought was best for me, and I can't fault them for that. I almost died again at my own hand, and they had to go through that hell again. Returning to the ward doesn't mean much, but I am in a good place now, and I'm hoping to write again. Let the fun begin. Let the fun begin.
Dude,
everyone's just ready to pretend that you never faked your own suicide for attention. This is the definition of commodifying mental health struggles and emotionally manipulating people into giving you money and validation and praise and attention.
But then she forwards the blame to her parents or to her family.
To her children, really. They were like, oh, my family made this decision for me.
Because
I didn't have anything to do with it.
The idea is that she actually did try
she attempted
to take herself out, and then was in the hospital, and they did this they did this to I guess carry on her memory, or
the parents did it?
The kids.
Yes, her adult children. And the way that they used this to promote her book sales,
and saying it was because of bullies,
is completely swindling people out of their money. And honestly, I see a lawsuit coming out of this possibly, and I saw a lot of people enraged by this. One person said it's already hard for people to talk about mental health, and then you have morons like Susan Meachin milking it and gaslighting people, and it reminded me of that writer on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, faked family tragedy, faked having cancer, faked getting abortions in her past, all of this stuff to her coworkers, everyone she knew, just to garner validation and attention.
First, to get a job, because in the show, Shonda Rhimes wanted writers who had experience in the areas in which they write. Right, so because she had an extensive medical history, she would be aptly put to write for a show about medicine. So it's evil and greedy because you lied about something to get a job that also garners sympathy. But then also she continued these stories because it allowed her to manipulate the people she was around them for sympathy and attention.
At this point, how can you believe anything you see about mental health or the topic, the very sensitive topic of sewer slide on the internet? Because all of it could be faked to use you.
Even ADHD didn't exist when I was a kid. It was just like, yo, calm down. The kid's a little crazy. Eat less sugar. Like, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe there are new chemicals in the bloodstream, like opiates, high fructose corn syrup, aspirin.
Is it just that, or is it the fact that we overprescribe
all this? The pharma loves things like ADHD because it gives them a reason to produce crazy. I mean, like, my point is mental health is very subjective. And when someone's like, I'm depressed, like, are you really? Or are you just upset and being lethargic?
Here's the thing. It reminded me of like this. I'm not kidding. I'm going to tell you a personal story. When I was very young, and I didn't want to go to school, my mom was very willing to listen to me when I would say that I didn't feel well, right? And I still remember a day where I was like, I don't feel well, and I didn't want to go to school. And she didn't make me go to school. And like on the dot at like 2:30 p.m., I said to my mom, I'm like, I feel better. And she's like, no. Get the hell back to your room. Like, even if you were just lying. That was literally, this is like the world's worst example of like a child's brain in an adult's body thinking that this was going to go any way other than the way it went.
Thinking there would be a complete lack of consequences and you get to keep the money that you essentially stole from people. And she had an existing fan base at the time that I'm sure were very upset to find this out.
My mom loved you so, and it's very hard to let go, someone controlling the Meechin account wrote back to the fan in a message later posted online.
She's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, attempting suicide is illegal. I believe attempting suicide will get you charged.
Officially, yeah.
So lying about attempting suicide, is that illegal? I don't know. Faking your own death. Is faking your own death illegal?
Technically, she did attempt suicide, but she survived, and then they used it as she used it as a marketing ploy.
I just don't know how she didn't get exposed for this by anybody who knew her in real life as she was just living her day-to-day life, not a care in the world. How is she not exposed for this before posting online again? And it's very telling that the first thing she does after revealing that she's not dead after all is try to get likes on Facebook.
Yeah, she's addicted to attention. She's addicted to sympathy. And what she talks about in the article, she talks about how the interest in the fan page that was created, in her Facebook fan page started to wane. And I think she's just so addicted to the attention to the fan page. She's like, the only way I can get the attention back up is if I just come back to life.
Because it turns out if you fake your own death, people eventually forget about you.
Yeah.
And also the money dries up.
Yeah.
It's actually called pseudocide.
Really?
Because,
that's like an official term?
Yeah. I looked up faking your own death.
Can you get charged for
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Doing that? It almost
is pseudocide
seems
illegal?
What could
Short answer is no. If you hate your life, you're technically allowed to contrive a departure from it. I don't know. This is just from one website.
Get sued for? Maybe are all these people going to demand that their money is refunded? Lawsuit? I don't know. Like, I see a class action situation coming out of this, and it just seems like the young adult fiction and romance genre right now is it's in deep shit.
This is the same thing that's going on in the comic industry. It's office women acting like high school mean girls, but with very, very real influence and platforms that are designed like, you know how we make the joke about how like when the natural outcome of cancel culture is that they want you to take your own life. Like that, like what they want you jobless, they want you homeless, they want you without a means of supporting yourself. These women are so detached from reality. Mm-hmm. They don't understand that the stuff they're posting online has real world consequences, and it's evil.
It's not just women though. I would argue that it's the feminine energy coming out of people.
Yeah,
it's like you were saying earlier. Social media is a good way for women to bully each other, but it's really a way for feminine people to use feminine bullying tactics, which are social pressure. Because I used to do it in 2006 and 2007 when this tech was so new with internet video. I was like, oh, I can say whatever I want to anyone. I can control people with my emotions.
And then there's the precedent with tech censorship that you have to word everything politely and with weasel words. It is a very feminine form of communication. And it's kind of funny when we talk about, oh, women are so masculine these days, whatever, when like they're the most conniving they've ever been. Yeah. They're the most secretive they've ever been and the most selfish and emotionally hysterical they've ever been. This is an era of hypochondriacs, liars. Like, if anything, we're seeing the era of toxic and extreme femininity that is infecting everyone, not just women. But I can see also why the young adult fiction corner of entertainment is getting uniquely co-opted by not just wokeness, but also maladjusted. It's
mean girl behavior taken to the extreme. It's lunchroom mean girl behavior taken to the extreme in its worst aspects. Here's some of the quotes from other authors. One says, "That is beyond psychotic," fellow romance writer Samantha A. Cole said in a Facebook post on Wednesday discussing the controversy. Here's another one that says, "I can forgive many things, but I don't think I could forgive you faking your own death," author Karen Hull wrote to Meechin in a Facebook post. She didn't respond to comment. Now she's going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm gone again. Like she'll go like with a kidnapping story. She's been kidnapped. Yeah.
I mean,
where did she go?
People should be just as angry at her family members that helped her spread this lie too.
I mean, if
they should face consequences as well.
Do we buy that, or did she just do this herself?
I mean, I just am waiting for this story to develop because it's absolutely bonkers.
Dude.
And also, like, it shows this corner of the internet, the book community or whatever. Yeah, there's an incredible amount of infighting and toxicity, but also there's some of the most superficial people, and superficial entertainment is what they enjoy the most. Like, I'm seeing all of these TikToks and tweets about Colleen Hoover, who is another young adult romance author right now. She makes an inordinate amount of work to sell at like Barnes and Noble. Like, it's a bestseller to the point where she's selling more than Dr. Seuss and the Bible at this point. And it's all just cheap, cheesy garbage, like cheap emotional garbage. And there are people making TikToks of themselves reacting to reading her work by hysterically crying, which is a trend that
she cries in her videos a lot, right?
She cries. Okay. Her fans also post videos crying in reaction to her work, which is like a trend on the internet that just should not exist at all.
Is part of this just like people are so starved for connection with other people, but are also so distant from people in the real world that they're finding like a weird form of superficial emotional connection with people online in a really, really unhealthy way?
Yes, and it's also how we've become such cultural Philistines that even Kylie Jenner is posting pictures of Colleen Hoover's books on her Instagram as if that is a bragging right. And of course, I'm glad that fans of trashy books like this are getting roasted and clowned on online for being so basic, because like these people on so-called book talk will read anything but classical literature, which coincidentally would help them learn moral lessons and become less toxic people in general.
I want to go through a little bit more of the Meechin case. I just want to go through some of these, because some of the stuff is so bonkers. So it says, even after the death post, so what it says was there something I could have said, or was there something I could have done to make her realize there were people in the book world that supported her, Cole said. That was the one who also commented earlier about, I can't believe you said all this. People that supported her. Remember, the reason she gave for her, they gave for her attempting to do that, or at that time thinking that she actually did do it, was because she was bullied by people in that industry. And have you ever heard the term like you need to have like a really thick skin to work in publishing? It's weird how it's now becoming an industry where you have to have a thick skin because you're mean to each other, not because the people buying your books are mean to you, but because the other authors are now so mean to you. So it says, even after the death post, though, Meechan's account continued to correspond with her online friends. After a grieving fan wrote to the account a few months after Meechan's apparent death, the account urged him to move on, claiming to be a Meechan family member who still called Meechan's voicemail to hear her voice. That is something from a movie or a TV show. That is not a real thing. That is a story you would see in a movie. Like, maybe that's real, but this obviously isn't real in this context. It's just somebody with a creative imagination. Oddly enough, maybe a good endorsement of her writing ability, I guess, but it doesn't sound real to me. This is what so much of what we go through. It's like when something sounds fake, it's because we're in a culture that wasn't raised reading literary works. They've been raised to watch TV shows and movies with these tropes. And the funny thing is that's like an actual, I don't remember who it was or what movie it was, but I think Wilson has a trope like that in House, where he keeps listening to the last voicemail from his from his ex-girlfriend who left him a voicemail. Or even in John Wick, he's got the last video of his wife on his phone, of his wife after she passed. So it's like she got this from the media. She got this from media and is using it to make herself money by making people think that she was actually dead in the real world.
And what an insult it is to people who have lost loved ones.
Yeah.
And who themselves have experienced this. So it's just wildly inappropriate.
It says, my mom loved you so, and it's very hard to let go, someone controlling the Meechan account wrote back to the fan in a message later posted online. Even after her purported death, though it appears that Meechan wasn't far away, someone logged into her account and asked for help marketing her backlog, which had fallen victim to algorithms on book websites that prize new books and bury old ones. So she's like, how can I stay relevant even though I'm supposedly dead?
Oh, her back catalog.
Like of books.
Yeah.
Like, but they don't promote stuff that's old. They promote stuff that's new. That's why they re-release albums and things like that.
In order to get into her account, they would need her password. And
I think it was her the whole time.
You know what she could have done if she didn't blow her cover? Write a fake diary that she had and pretend that her family is publishing an abridged version of her diary.
Ooh,
dude,
that'd be good.
It might even work.
It's just evil, dude.
What if she dedicated her life to pretending to be dead?
I mean, you gotta respect the hustle.
Years of it, yeah.
Anything to win that bag, right?
At some point, there's got to be legality. Maybe not. Maybe you don't need to bring the state into it.
Like back in the day, you had the reason to fake your own death was because the mob was after you.
Yeah.
Not because you just wanted to get attention so that you could come back from like. The other thing is like, does anyone buy that? Like everyone's heard the joke or like the idea of like everyone would love the idea of going to their own funeral. Did she go to her own funeral? I want to know.
Did they fake a funeral?
Did she wear a trench coat and sunglasses and sit in the back of her own funeral?
The thing is, like, aren't death certificates publicly available?
Yeah, you got to pay taxes too.
Yeah, and then there's taxes. I mean, she was voting, I'm sure.
Oh, while
not
she was
the
dead,
only
she was
dead
voting?
person voting.
We know who she voted for in 2020. Am I right?
Yeah.
I think she could have
Thanks, Biden.
Like they could have the family. She could just keep writing books while she's quote dead, and her family could be like, "Oh, we found a trove of like 30 or 40 every year. We find more novels that she had."
My gosh, when did she not write? She's new books. She's like including stuff that's happened since she died. She's like the insurrection was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
I love that our idea is how we can make this even worse.
I know, because she has obviously gone through some emotional pain and the bullying. I don't want to like pile on more bullying on top of bullying that made her think she needed to pretend to be dead. Or pretend to be dead. But in the same time, you got to call it ridiculous behavior when it's ridiculous. Because some people are better off being, ridiculed.
I mean, at the very least, they should look into like fraud. For anyone that bought something based on the idea that it was in her memory. Like I guess it's the proto pseudo libertarian here. It's like, is it not there? It's your own fault for not doing your own research to make sure that she was actually dead when you went and supported her book.
You should have gone to her house. You should have doxed her address, gone to her house.
You should have looked for a death certificate
and looked in the windows to see if she's there still.
Called the county coroner in her city and been like, okay, did this lady actually die? Like
this is what we're gonna have to start doing now.
I donate to GoFundMe's all the time that are like people like a lot of it is like. There's like people that skate in other countries that just don't have access to the same stuff we do. Like, so they raise money so that skates and stuff can be sent there. Like I have there's a guy who skates who I love his work, and he lives in Iran, and getting skates in Iran is a lot harder than getting them here. Like, his skates are always beat up and super old and stuff like that, but I love his work. And I've donated several times to to campaigns and stuff, like, where they raise money for people to give skates out there. Do I do my due diligence to make sure that my $50 or $100 actually went to that? No, but like, I'm operating on good faith that, look, the dude's really, really good. His skates are clearly very beat up. Like, do I actually think that he's taking the money and using it for something else? No, I don't. But in this case, maybe they need to do their due diligence.
Can we operate on good faith anymore? Also, do you guys think that some celebrities fake their deaths? This is a big conspiracy, like Michael Jackson faked his death, or
Tupac.
Like others. And even historical figures. Do you think that happens?
Yeah, John McAfee, maybe, just recently. He was under a lot of investigation by governments.
And said, hey, I'm not S-word. I'm not S-word adult.
Yeah.
Well, Mel Gibson is going to have to come out and be like, I am very happy and emotionally stable and not sewer-slidal.
But also, it's like, at the same time, now that's become like a meme. Like, I'm not.
People say it so often that it's kind of trivializing the whole issue, which is that this happens in reality.
I don't 100% think McAfee faked his death, but it's possible. I think people do. I bet people do. While we were talking about this, I was thinking about, corporations are legally people. That's like a law that was passed, I don't know, 50, 100 years ago. Where people.
That's funny, because my biggest argument whenever people whine about corporations, I'm like, corporations aren't people, they can't have feelings.
Yeah, Mitt Romney, famous statement by Mitt Romney in 2012 when he was running for president, I think it was, corporations are people, my friend, and they are, technically, legally. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to create all these deep-faked people that they own. They're just going to create a cast of characters, corporations will, and then those characters, those people will sell tickets, and the money that you pay those people, you don't even know that they're not real people, is going to go to the corporation. And so talking about faking death, it's going to be just people that were never really even alive. But you'll have to do the diligence to find out if they're, or do your due diligence. I don't like that phrase, due diligence.
Due diligence.
Yeah, due diligence is what you need to do. And find out if they're real people, if you want to support real people. That's coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can be supporting fictitious digital monsters if you're not careful.
Well, I will not
VTubers.
I will not be supporting Susan Meechin, that is for sure. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.